Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Randi Kamarsurya, public lecture organizing team leader of Mechanical Engineering Sectional Committee of IESL. Today I have the privilege of welcoming all of you gathered here for the public lecture organized by Mechanical Engineering Sectional Committee on curiosity, consciousness, creativity towards citizen-centered engineering, organized with the aim of diversifying the topics we discussed here from technical topics to other topics, other categories. So, in order to deliver the lecture today, we have a wonderful personality who needs no formal introduction. If you have had a wonderful childhood, amazing childhood, watching the amazing movies and the teledramas of Shatik Rupahini, you may all have seen his acting performance. If you have watched the great teledramas like Giraya, you may never forget the main actor in that teledrama. An actor turned banker, a bank turned entrepreneur. Peter has played many different, many diversified careers in his lifespan, and with his diverse career span, nearly 3 decades in banking, advertising, and IT industries. He is currently the managing director and the chief executive of Enable Private Limited. Enable, a company he has founded in 2008, and without further ado, I cordially invite Peter de Almeida to the stage.
Thank you very much, distinguished engineers and others. Like myself, I'm neither an engineer nor a scientist, so I'm very privileged to be invited to speak to an audience such as you on matters that are, I think, of importance to all of us. So thank you very much, Randika and others who have invited me to be here this evening. Recently I spoke at Sri Lanka, this SLIIT. They had organized a very interesting conference. It was a business conference, business school. But I was very fascinated by the topic that they had chosen. And the topic was Imagine, Innovate, Inspire. Very interesting. Imagine, innovate, and inspire. So when I was preparing for that, I myself started engaging with this idea of imagine. Because although I use the word curiosity, because it sounds better now to have 3 C's, for those who are familiar with Mr. Premadasa, he had consultation, compromise, consensus. I'll tell you a story about that later. If I have the time, you can remind me on question and answer after the famous, the repression of '89. There was a talk I gave, but I don't want to digress. So I put in curiosity, but you know the interesting thing I found preparing for that talk, that before curiosity, what is important is imagination. And that's what I want to dwell a little bit on today, because it was, I think, Einstein who said imagination is more important than knowledge, because knowledge is limited, because we know what we know, there's a limit, but imagination opens up a whole new world. In fact, he says it embraces the entire world. And George Bernard Shaw also had a very interesting way in which he connected some of the things that the SLIT topic spoke about, which is imagination, innovate, and inspire. Actually, he left out the inspire part. He said, imagination is the beginning of creation. You imagine what you desire, you will what you imagine, and at last, you create what you will. So, when such an eminent person like even Einstein, and that was the thing about that man, He said, I'm not a very special person, but I'm passionately curious. And he said, curiosity starts with imagination. We all know this, but yet our education system, in fact the entire society we live in, we value knowledge more than imagination. And the education system particularly is all about knowledge. Syllabus and all that. And even businesses, they are looking at things like education qualifications as a criteria. But why are we not focusing on imagination? And after all, imagination is something that all of us have. We are born with imagination. It's a natural resource. All of us have imagination. But I found out not true, not all. 2% of the world's population have something called a condition called aphantasia. Can't have fantasy, fantasia, picture. Imagine is to have a picture in your mind, right, of something. They can't have it. Now there's a guy called Blake Ross who was a co-creator of Firefox. He found that he didn't have this and he couldn't picture his father or the bouncing ball when he was a child. He can't see pictures in his mind. 2%. What about the rest of the 98%? What happens? We are born with imagination, then a terrible thing happens to us. We are sent to school. Game over. Because schools, we know, kill creativity, particularly imagination. If a child is thinking out of the class and looking out of the window, you know, and that fellow is imagining some possibility. And Einstein himself, and we can come to Einstein and his wonderful idea of gravitational field. I mean, he imagined riding a wave, a beam of light, because he wanted to see what it felt like. And then of course we know that he came up with this brilliant idea that light is made out of photons and all of that. Anyway, that's a different discussion and a lecture entirely, which is not up to my capability. But schools absolutely kill creativity, don't they? Now take this Shishatva business, and I keep talking about it, you may have heard me speak before. I mean, it's a terrible thing. Ogala Shishatva yawanada me lamai. Atta kiyanne. Yawanawa neda? Kamak naha. Now they are going to go away with a terrible lesson from me. Kedra gila amma gana ara mahatya kiwa neda? Ara mahatya ne ara miniya. Karabukut dagan nitya. Ya kiwa Shishatva onne hari. So I'm sorry with you, apologies. Ithin me Shishatva kiyala avarudu 5 patan ganna. And they drum it in. And you know, constantly lesson, study, padang. And now recently I saw a big billboard which said workshop. 1 day workshop for Shisha. Have you all seen that? You have seen that. So I'm not making it up, right? Workshop. But is it for children or is it for parents? It's for children. Can you imagine, I say, these fellows going and spending a whole bloody day in a workshop. So, and you've seen, but I must say, how many of you came to the Shishatva before I go any further? Show of hands. How many of you in the audience came, you know, went through the Shishatva program? Overwhelming majority. You all have survived fairly well, I think. But you know, some have enjoyed. Okay, how many of you really enjoyed the Shishatva? There you are. There you are. So 4 people. Not bad. You are the exception. Clearly, you can see. Buru again. You enjoyed it. You enjoyed this. Good. No, yeah, because you know, there are people who come to interviews that I go, and they say, they were not pressurized. They just did it and they enjoyed studying. No big deal. But most of the people, island first. So no wonder. But of course, AJ told me he's multi-talented, creative, and we'll come to that about STEM education and creativity. He's a photographer. So he's bringing the other side of him. He's right brain. So anyway, so I see pictures of these people who come first Shishatva, second, third. They are not smiling and joyful because they are put through this terrible thing and no questions asked. And that's the other thing, isn't it? To imagine, you must also be able to look at new possibilities. That's what it does. And another aspect of creativity, I might as well finish with that, with school, is that schools don't encourage failure. Because if you fail, my God, you are a disaster. So, you know, and you can do brilliantly in other subjects, Buddhism, English, home science, artwork, amma tata manadane, maths වලට කීයක් ගත්තා? 35 අයියෝ නා වගේ මොඩෙක්ද මන්ද. But the other people are saying put your skills, strengths to work. If you are getting 95 for English, send them for English classes if you want to. Put their strengths to work. Don't go and bully them about trying to do something with maths. Now I saw a lady recently who has become a famous, I wanted to make a note of it, breakthrough. Recently, JJ, I don't know, a Sri Lankan lady won a special award, global award I think, and she said she was very good in home science. Huh? Maybe some, you know, oh no, she won an award for technology. She's a technology breakthrough, home science, but nobody, you know, laughed at her and pressurized her. So too, you must have a different mindset where failure is a celebration in a way. Now, I have a friend and my partner, she hasn't come now, you know Kanchana, her foster sister's son, 7 years old, brilliant chap. I would say he's one of a million. So there will be 22 people like him. He's 7 years old, but he is passionately curious. Munari dunna galo. Bicycle karan dunna meyaka bicycle emptying galewan. Tire එකත් ගැලෙවා, tire එකේ තියෙන rim එකත් අර tube එකත් ගැලෙවා, ඔක්කොම ගුටි කාපු නැතික විතරයි. You know, because always opening, finding. He came home one day very happy. මොකද? ප්‍රශ්න 20ක් දුන්නා එකක් හරි. Now, we would have hidden the report and other marks dunna and all that. Why? Because mindset. I had 20 problems, I cracked one. Now, if you can celebrate something like that in school, can you imagine what our schools will be like? How joyful our children will be at the idea of discovering and imagining and finding new possibilities, answers to problems. And the other thing is selfishness. Ammala enawa ekolog genada kiyanawada man danne tarahen depa. Parent teachers day. My mother never came, or any parent, my mother never cited the school. Parent teachers, they'll come. Now son has got 98 or daughter. Then they'll ask, පන්තියේ කී දෙනෙකුට 100ක් හම්බුණා. අච්චි බලන්න වුණා අර තුන් දෙනාට 100ක් ඔයාලා තව දෙකක් ගන්න බැරි වුණාද? I mean, where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line? So the education system itself doesn't lend itself to this kind of imagination, curiosity and possibility, because after all, I mean, it's curiosity, imagination that opens up new possibilities, isn't it? And also it furthers innovation. And more than that, it fuels the soul. Like the Makidis Saad said, is it not by imagination that one feels joy? So with all that, we send our children to school and they kill their innovation, their imagination, the natural resource that they're born with. And we are pushing knowledge and questionable knowledge at that. Now we come a little closer to engineering. Look at the way we teach the sciences in school. I think it's all completely wrong, and that's why even at the last talk I gave at Techno, I was very inspired by this talk given by the president of the British Science Association, Imran Khan, not the cricketer. You know, he said something very interesting in that speech. He said we must challenge the assumption that the study of science is primarily for the training of future experts. He says the core aim of science education is to ensure students leave school with skills and confidence to discuss and shape scientific and technology advances, whatever their career. So all the schools need to do is to create some interest, some enthusiasm about sciences and all of that, so that they can come and be able to shape the future of science irrespective of the careers that they are following. That's why he's saying science is taught all wrong, because we break up, and science is, and he also says science is too important, valuable and fascinating to be left to professional scientists. And you can cut the word scientists and add the word engineers and you get the same meaning. Because you see, we are teaching, for example, he says, look at the way we teach physics, chemistry, biology, zoology, all of that, right? And each of us think, okay, now this is what we're going to do with chemistry, very narrow. But he says, supposing we teach science, teach all the science around global warming. Then what happens? Then you suddenly see there's chemistry, there's physics, there's geography, there's biology, all kinds of things. When the class comes together, in the next 3 weeks, we are going to talk about global warming and all of the sciences involved in global warming. Yesterday, I interviewed a young lady, and I want to take 2 references to her. I'll come to the next reference later. She told me if she were chose subjects, what should she have chosen? She said, I'd chosen geography, I'd have chosen biology, and I'd have chosen maths. That combination is not allowed. And I thought, my God, no, not maths, something else. And I thought that those 3 subjects go to the heart of some important problems that we face in this world. So, sciences is taught wrong. And it's a slightly long quote, but I will read it out to you because you all are all people from science. And I want to talk about how important it is that these children are encouraged to be involved in the creative arts, music, drama, acting, singing. That's what opens your mind. And I'll read a slightly long quote, but I'll read it anyway. It's by John Seeley Brown. He was the chief scientist at Xerox, at the famous Palo Alto Research Center. Of course, he knows about innovation because Xerox didn't innovate and they got killed. And he says, I think we are way too focused on creativity. He's talking about creativity and imagination. It's misguided. We should be focused on imagination. The real key is being able to imagine a new world. Once I imagine something new, then answering how to get from here to there involves steps of creativity. Right, fine. Then he comes to something that you all should all think about. I think what's happening in STEM education, STEM you all know, right? Science, technology, engineering and math. STEM. STEM education is a tragedy. He's using that word. He's a scientist. It's a tragedy. Art enables us to see the world in different ways. I'm riveted by how Picasso saw the world. How does being able to imagine and seeing things differently work hand in hand? Art education and probably music too are more important than most things we teach. Being great at math is not that critical for science. And you know this is true because Einstein was not so great at maths. In fact, he sucked at maths. Yet, how are we being great at math is not that critical for science, but being great at imagination and curiosity is critical. Yet, how are we training tomorrow's scientists? By boring the hell out of them in formulaic mathematics. And don't forget, I'm a trained theoretical mathematician. Minya tamai kiya. Mang wage me A-level fail veche minek nemei. You all can disregard me, but this is this man saying. How profound is that? So what are we going to do? You all have to start. For us, it's too late. We are lost souls. අපිට imagine කරන්න හමාරු ඒ ජීව වගේ විශ්වක පුළුවන් තාම ටික දෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා අපේ අතරේ විශාල බැරි දෙනෙකුට බෑ because we have come through the education system. But these 3 children, there is hope. If your parents allow you to explore the world of art and music and let your imagination grow, then you all will be a different kind of future. Now myself, I was able to be what I am largely because when I grew up, I was born in a family. Some of you have heard my story or watched my TED Talks, but I'll repeat it anyway. I was in a family of 11. Father, mother, 11 children. I'm the youngest. I was born when my father was 60. So, can you imagine? Quite an active man. 60. I am 60 now. AJ, we can both have a child, not together. So, so he would have been like me. And decided to have me. So, only thing is, when I was 4, he died. Heart attack. And died. Now, it was a terrible situation at home because my 11 in the family, elder sister was married. So, my mother 11, grandmother 12, 2 cousins, 13, 14 people in the house. Lower middle class. And my father's small pension. So that's the way we grew up, but no big deal. That's the way we were born. We had limited, resources. We grew up. That's not the story. But I've realized now that I was very fortunate that my father died when I was 4. Now you all are going to get a shock when I say this mad fellow is saying this kind of. But that's true because he was a conservative Catholic, very domineering, had a very rigid idea of what's right and wrong. My sisters couldn't go for a film without him checking with the priest in the church, is this film okay? Then they had a famous thing in the 1960s. They had a famous thing called Wander on Ice or something like that. I always forget the title. Donovan Andre put on a show. AJ, you may have recollections of that. They brought ice rinks and skating and all that, and these girls. My father didn't allow my sisters to go because those ladies are wearing those short, what the skating, ice skating. And my sisters are also girls. He didn't allow. He thought my sisters will wear those and run around the house. That would have been a terrible sight. 6 or 5 of them. Anyway, so you see, so I was fortunate that I didn't come under that oppressive Catholic, dogma. මේ ආ වඳින්න දෙවියන් වහන්සේ කාක්ක බලන් ඉන්නවා මේ කණ්ඩ නැත්තම් ගෝණි බිල්ල එනවා ඒ වගේ තමයි අම්මට වෙලා තිබ්බේ නැහැ ඒව කරන්න. She had to keep the family together. I just grew up on my own and I was very good in my studies and all that. And performing also. We are all artists. අර කියනවා කවුරුහරි සින්දුවක් කියනවා අතදාන සින්දුවක් කියනවා I'm acting all kinds of things. So nobody interfered. So I think that's what allowed me to discover the arts and so on. And I was very good in school until I came to my A-levels. A-levels, I was fascinated by a few things. Now, 2 of the greatest theories or discoveries of the 20th century, theory of relativity and quantum physics. Now, that little book there, AJ, the tiny book, if that book, if you can just hold it up, 7 brief lessons in physics, try and get that for the library, engineering college. Fascinating. Each of you must own it. If you have any interest in science, just buy it and try and get it down. 7 basic lessons in physics. So simply, if only our A-level students were taught that, they would have been fascinated by the world of physics, theory of relativity, quantum, particles, black holes, heat, and you didn't have to go to school. You'll be so fascinated by this. So I was interested in 2 of these people, Max Planck and Niels Bohr. මතකද? A-levels. බෝර්ගේ ආවර්ත චක්‍රය. ඒක විතරයි අපිට කියලා දෙන්නේ. ඉතින් මම ප්‍රශ්න අහන්න පටන් ගත්තා මේ බෝර් ප්ලාන්ක් අයිසේ පඬිතයා වෙන්න එපායිසේ. තමුසේ මේ සටන් ටික ලියා ගන්නවා. මාස්ටර්වත් වැඩිය දන්නේ නැහැ. බෝර් ගැනවත් ප්ලාන්ක්ගේ quantum physics ගැන they also coming through the education system. But they missed out on having a discussion on one of the most fascinating subjects. And that is also now related to Buddhist philosophy and all that, quantum. Jumping states, what is real is not real, all kinds of ideas, මේවනේ අපි කතා කරන්නේ ඉස්කෝලේ මේ A level කාලේ. ඉතින් ඕක ඔක්කොම නැති. So I was in that sense. That's where I missed out. But I still retain the interest in science, but I'm not a scientist. What I'm trying to say is to create that curiosity. I can engage in an active discussion with the institute or the science to see how science can play a better role in society. So that's what I wanted to, really focus your mind on. How can we change this? That comes to the Institute of Engineering Science, Engineers of Sri Lanka. What can you do? Because I think you have 2 important roles to play. And one is to create excitement about engineering, mainly. And also to see how you can bring the public, the larger public, bring them into discussions on science and engineering and so on. That's why I think it's important to try and see whether we can draw some lessons again from the British Science Association. I mean, they have a very good, simple idea about what they need to do. I mean, they have a very interesting statement. They say, our vision is of a world where science is at the heart of culture and society. What is at the heart of our society? Mambo jumbo. Nakat. Nakat gana I'm saying astrology and all that. Now a former president also depend on astrology. I mean, if you follow data science ටිකක් ඔයලා බලලා පොඩ්ඩක් data පාවිච්චි කරලා තීරණයක් ගත්තා නම් ඡන්දෙ ඉල්ලන්න. එයා සමහරවිට ඒක කල් දාලා දිනන්නත් තිබ්බා. But some astrologer man told him මේක තමයි හොඳ කාලේ කියලා උනා. You see? So, I mean, it must be rooted in science, in facts, data. Don't forget even Buddhism. There's a lot of science behind it. So I'm thinking, how can you, as members of the institution, Institute of Engineers Sri Lanka, think about, doing some of this? Again, where science and engineering, you can add the word, is at the heart of culture and society. And they have a very interesting idea. They say we have to transform the diversity and inclusivity of science to reach underserved audience and increase the number of people involved in science activity. So that's what I think, those two things, if you can get your head around. How can I, in schools, in your workplaces even, how can I get them involved actively? Now some schools have exhibitions, okay, but can they really, be challenged to do something that can be of a little more value to society? That comes to the next question. What is the purpose of science and engineering? And that is where I come to my point about consciousness. Now, before we get to consciousness, look at what is happening. When you're talking about being actively involved in the sciences and playing a role in uplifting the society, look at what is happening to our country today. At that point, I'll take a glass of water so I can say it even better. I must commend you all that I don't see any plastic. So, engineering institution, I'm very pleased. Everywhere you go, they give plastic bottles. You are the 5th largest polluter in plastic. I was very pleased. So you can congratulate yourself. No plastic bottles. Even your bathroom, I saw water, in small quantities. No paper. You have to use so great. Now coming to Sri Lanka, look at opportunities. Today, all of the large projects are given to whom? Chinese. And now, to balance the Chinese, Indians. Now, nothing for us, seriously. And what is the quality of the work? Look at that Norachole power plant. I mean, you all are engineers. We should be ashamed, to let this. 35 times it has failed. 35 times. I mean, if I go to Sri Lanka Telecom or Dialog or Mobitel or anywhere and do a project, once it fails, I'll be warned. I'll be told. Second time, I'll be warned. Third time, blacklisted, liquidated damages. I won't have a reputation in the mark. I won't be. I am gone. My company is gone. Everything gone. My family is also gone. 35 times, nobody has been asked to pay a cent. Is that all right? $1.3 billion to build this. Now contrast this with the Galway project, built by, I don't want to go to Sigiri and all that, that's hundreds of years before. Take Galway, our engineers, and that was the largest multifunction project involved at that time, and that was led by ATGA Vikramasuriya, the deputy director. I read an article from the 1970s from the Sunday Leader. ATGA Vikramasuriya, does any of you all know him? Heard of him? Deputy Director, Department of Irrigation. Largest construction work undertaken by Irrigation Department for irrigation, power generation, flood control. Now, our engineers did all the groundwork and they took the preliminary designs and estimates. They were prepared by a team led by one Mr. Kahavita. I think his name must be there in the Irrigation Department. And he took them to the International Engineering Corporation in Denver, Colorado. And you know what they said? This is what they said about the work of our engineers. Never have we received such a complete and comprehensive set of drawings, soil tests, gauge readings, and all other information necessary to formulate and design a multi-purpose project. This is being told by the experts in International Engineering Corporation, Denver, Colorado. Then the construction is awarded to a foreign firm, but the work is done under the supervision of our engineers. Fixed turnkey, fixed price. So what? Quality is an important thing. They are working round the clock, our engineers, supervising, making sure these fellows are not cheating. This is how they worked in the Galway project. And there was one engineer, Mr. Godfrey Gunasekar. I know him because I'm a friend of his daughter. He died recently at 100 years. Later on he became a Buddhist, meditation and all that. This man challenged Dr. Savage, who was the leading dam expert, and he said there's something wrong with the soil. Whatever the calculation, that article didn't give me the details. I must find that out. You all can also find it out. And he said this is wrong. And Dr. Savage, being a humble man, said, you are right, Mr. Gunasekar. And he changed it. This is how we challenge him. Today, none of our engineers are involved in any of the large projects that are unfolding in this country. And I'll come to that later. Take this hub, the new container terminal, Colombo International Container CICT. I mean, they gave the Koreans to do the breakwater. Okay, I don't know, you all are engineers. Whether we can do breakwater and all that, I don't know. You all can discuss that. They gave it to the Koreans. Fine, they built the breakwater. Then, to fix the gantries, we need Chinese engineers. Gantries, to fix gantries. Nobody. How are you young engineers going to get exposed to projects? What we do as a company is expose our young people to new and exciting projects, world-class projects in IT. So, what hope is there for you? What hope is there for the children who are coming out of your engineering faculties and so on? Forget gantries. Roads, railway. They give the road to the Chinese, northern province, railway. We can't be a bloody railway track, man. And now, houses, 65,000 houses were going to be built in Jaffna, in that northern province, because ArcelorMittal, steel, prefabricated steel. Can you use steel in that heat, in that hot sun? And the government said, we are going to do it. Then people protested, including the people from the area. They said, we don't want this. Finally, they brought it down because they want to save face. Listen to the people. What's the problem? Because they struck a deal, ArcelorMittal, famous steel company, and involved some fellow, they made money, no? And they brought it down to 6,000. Even that 6,000, the people are saying, we don't want to come. Who is the mad fellow who will come and live in a prefabricated steel house in Vavunian? This is the kind of nonsense that goes on. So is it okay for us to remain silent and indifferent to what's going on, particularly when it impacts you directly? But on the other hand, in IT, I have not seen any new, maybe I'm ignorant, but I have not seen anything new, engineering innovation that came out of here. Some years ago, we remembered ANS Kulasingh. You all know him. You know, prefabricated concrete. I mean, my school, Benedict's College, he came only to do his A-levels, but you know, when people are famous, so we said Benedictine, but of course he was proud to be a Benedictine, that's okay. But you know, prefabricated, that was, you know, hailed as a great invention. After that, I have not heard of any. But in IT and other places, there are now WSO2. They're building products. They've just built a product called Ballerina. New product. Cloud-based software. Breakthrough. Global. And our local engineers are working there in IT. So, I come to the last point. Consciousness. Are we going to be conscious of the larger issues that face the people of this country? Not only engineering. What about, and I speak about this one example because I think one example repeated will go into people's heads. I talk about this problem, this diabetes, this kidney problem, chronic kidney failure. AJ, you go all over the country, you know, talking to people. Our rural people are suffering the most, isn't it? In the northwestern province, chronic kidney disease. I think several thousands have died. We still don't know what's causing this. Am I correct? Still don't know. And a few years ago, this country needed 1,000 dialysis machines to treat them a little more, you know, affordably and all that. We had 180 dialysis machines. Now, I'll tell you something. They built a stadium at Suryavali. 5 billion rupees. 5 billion rupees. I was told, I'm not sure the number is absolutely accurate. The 1,000 dialysis machines would have cost us 2 billion rupees. Isn't it a tragedy? How many cricket matches are played there? When I spoke about this at the Google I/O talk, I was wanted to ask Kumar. He spoke before me, unfortunately he left. I was going to ask him, Kumar, you scored 12,000 runs, 5th highest score of runs in the world. How many of those runs did you score in Suryavali? Because I don't think very many matches were played there. Now look at idling there. When our farmers are dying. And this is what we call progress. And yet we remain indifferent. And we say, Desapalne karanne ande. But how can we will up to destruction? Is it okay? So here are people with some capacity, some capability in the room here. Lenin said, give me 10 professional revolutionaries and I will overturn Russia. Here, how many people are here? Maybe 100, maybe less than 100. Supposing some of you become conscious and say, no, we cannot leave it to the politicians. We need to get engaged in movements. It doesn't matter what the movement is. You know, environment, it can be, awareness of tree, that's environment, water, farming. You can pick fertilizer, people dying, pick anything, but be engaged. Don't be disengaged. Because I think we are making a big mistake of leaving to the politician, then we get frustrated. Now 20 people are already coming forward as candidates. Then now 2 people I met, Nagananda Kodituaku and Rohan. What's his name? Pallevat. Nice man, very affable gentleman. And Nagananda also, very interested in law and order. He gave so many examples. But I told them, even the best, the most wonderful person in the world, if you put him into the position of the executive presidency, with all its concentration of power, even the best man will become corrupt, will become powerful, and will completely undermine any semblance of democracy in this country. And you will vote for one of them, won't you? And you say, they themselves think genuinely we can change. No. So, my final point is, stay engaged. Don't be disengaged from the larger issues that face the people of this country. And only then you can say, I have made a contribution. I just want to take an example because I spoke recently at this design festival organized by the University of Moratoa. And there I was very impressed to see a talk, the keynote address given by this gentleman. I'll see if I can find it. He gave a keynote on designing a country. Who cares? That was the topic. Because they were talking about design as an interface between people, and I was very impressed that in India there's an advisor to the India's Prime Minister on information, infrastructure, and innovation, a gentleman called Sam Pitroda, and he says every process we have today is essentially obsolete. How do we get admission in schools? How do we get our birth certificates? How do we get land resources? We need to redesign process, tools, and technologies if we are going to be globally competitive and create the kind of jobs that we need to create for the 550 million youth below the age of 25, children like them. They will start working 25 years from now. What are we going to teach them? Interface. How do we deal with our people? And in that context, this gentleman who gave the talk, he has given up his work as design and engineering. He has started a program called Billion Bricks, contrasting to our prefabricated steel. He's started a movement called Weather Hide, where they're building insulated, reversible, lightweight, and women-friendly emergency shelters designed to save the lives of the homeless in conditions of extreme weather. Now, we can do that. So, my point is, if you be inspired and you think that we can use some of the enormous talent that you have to address some of the large issues facing the country, then I think we can take some pride and some lesson from the words of John Lennon in his famous song Imagine. He said, imagine there's no possession. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vega. I think we have time for question and answer session, right?
Yes, of course.
Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, please make the best out of this opportunity. Without hesitating, please ask any question you would have.
I want to highlight one thing. I'm civil engineer from Ceylon Bank. Actually, CICD pattern is apparent that the CICD is a private partnership. So, our South Indian terminal is operated by the Ceylon Bank Employees Union Limited. we have 15% equity stake in the EPP, but the decision to handling the train and everything was handled in CICD. It's not a decision of the SFP.
Of course.
Actually, that board engineers 24/7 work for the breakwater construction, and that was designed by this corporation. It was also engineering firm. Our senior technology design and all, and then thereafter during the recent terminal development stage, our engineers designed that one, and the review part was done by the outside party at the PPPIA. So with the quick time, our engineers involved in many designs and construction of the board sector. I just want to make that.
Sure. Then why did we pay so much money to the Chinese?
The case is that the Ceylon Bank Employees Union is the private entity. We have only 15% stake on there.
That's my point.
Yes.
So why should all that money go to someone? What is the value they bring?
Oh.
The Chinese company.
Actually, that the construction cost of the South Container Terminal itself 500 million.
Yes. Yes.
Within that 500 million, that trade storage and everything was included. And unfortunately, Sri Lanka government decided to go for the PPP, but not the SLE. But it's very pathetic situation that we can operate that, and the all the revenue will stay in Sri Lanka because the revenue comes from the dollars on Sri Lanka rupees.
You're paying dollars. Dollar is going to depreciate it very badly. 2019 next year, our repayment will be $4 billion. It's going to be a huge problem. Don't underestimate. If you say I will take your word for it, I don't know how many of our engineers were involved in designing it. I don't know, so I can't comment. But if that is the case, my question is, why did you give so much money to them? Why? Competitive bidding, mukut ne.
That's my was actually we have the right to comment on that matter. In the PPP,
That's my
does not allow us to.
That's my point. That's my point. You see, I mean, I'm happy if you say some engineers were involved in designing it. I'm happy, but largely.
Actually, in the Jack terminal, it was developed in around 90s. All the cranes and everything is maintained and operated by the engineers in the different awards.
Absolutely, absolutely. Then we can develop software. We can. This is a collaboration. Collaborating with others. Bring a company. Can you build software? Because we are going to have more and more ports. Can you build the software to operate the gantries? ඔක්කොම software වලින් කරන්නේ. ඒකත් පිටරටින් ගෙන්නලා අපි දන්නේ නැහැ මොකක්ද ඒක තියෙන්නේ quality. I know something, but I don't want to talk about that. But anyway.
I'm grateful you coming actually. We haven't done that. Yeah.
I mean, Jaya Terminal, like you said, we built. I mean, it's not fallen down like the Norachole power plant. Thank you for the clarification. Thank you. අපි මේ ළමයින්ටත් කියමු ප්‍රශ්න අහන්න කියලා. ඕගොල්ලෝ පොඩි කාලෙම ප්‍රශ්න අහන්න. ඉස්කෝලේත් ප්‍රශ්න අහන්න. ඒගොල්ලෝ කල්පනා කරන්න මොකක්ද අහන්නේ කියලා. ඒගොල්ලෝ හරි.
I come from a public institution of Sri Lanka. So like I said, highlighted about the white Norachole power plant. So in the meantime, I repeat again, I'm from Public Utilities Commissions, and as you rightly said that you have mentioned about the Norachole power plant and problem that has been encountered because of the substandard construction and all this. And in the meantime, like Commission has denied the fact that the same sort of a thing was about to be in Sampo, and that has been turned down because of the same issues that arise. In the meantime, I would like to get some advice and opinions from you that sometimes these decisions are challenged by the so-called professional unions. I don't want to tell the name of those unions, but sometimes I think that the unions, the engineers, the professional engineers are sometimes influenced by means of some political agendas where they also do not understand. So what is your call about the trade union actions and how the engineer should react to those things and to overcome all these issues which have been thrown by these unions?
So I don't want to stand here and give advice to the unions. I myself, in fact, I wanted to tell you, he said I was a banker, I was an artist, and I was an entrepreneur. He forgot to say I was a trade unionist. I was a very active trade union in the bank union. I was 19 years old when I joined the State Bank of India. I was the president of the branch union, and at 22 I became the treasurer of the Ceylon Bank Employees Union, a very powerful independent union, and we did some very good work. And we were not, disruptors, we dealt with issues. Now all of the benefits that you all enjoy, the Shop and Office Act, all that, anyway, never mind. But trade unions are very important, so I don't want to comment on each of the unions, but I'm saying, how can you engage to prevent something? I'll give you the example of the Epavela phosphate mine. I was involved in that struggle. The government of the day, 1970s, wanted to give there was a big phosphate deposit in Epavela, in Anuradhapura. And that phosphate is used for fertilizer, and we had rich, high quality phosphate in this country. So, and we could have used it for 200 years if you mine it sustainably. Some articles I've read says we could have used it for 1,000 years. Now they wanted to give it to a company called Freeport-McMoran and a Japanese consortium. This Freeport-McMoran did the same thing in an island called Nauru in the Pacific Island, small island, the richest per capita income country, today destitute. You look at Nauru pictures and Google, Hande Tiena cratered moon, destitute. The people are poor. There's no income. These fellows come, strip mine the whole place, take everything. 30 years gone, leaving holes in the north central province. Very rich agricultural country, and it had a very fine balance between irrigation and water control. You all have heard about the fine irrigation system that this country built years ago, taking water miles into Anuradhapura to cultivate. Even today, tank system and all that. Entire thing that got devastated. One Buddhist monk, Peratana Thera, Purana Vihare, Maradan Kadagal, he said, no, we can't allow this. And he organized the villagers. Now, we were involved in the trade union movement. I was very closely associated with the trade union. It's called Bala Thampo. Who has heard of Bala Thampo? Tarunaya Tika Denaku Dhanna. So I came under his influence. So we went there and found this man, simple man. He is not a Marxist or anything. Man from the village. He felt, everybody gathered around. We also gathered around. Scientists, artists, National Science Association, Jodis, Veeramantri, he wrote a fine article. Everyone got involved in a movement. No backing charge, Minisu Galgala, Mukut ne. Okkam ekatu wuna. Supreme Court decided, the day the Supreme Court was deciding, we formed a picket line. The villagers met in Epavela, we had more meetings and all to mobilize. We picketed. ඒ වගේ picket line එකක් මම දැකලා නැහැ කවදාවත්. ඒකේ trade unions ලා ඉන්නවා, actors ලා ඉන්නවා, මේ scientists ලා ඉන්නවා, තුමක් eclectic crowd. Supreme Court decided the violation of the fundamental rights of the people of this country. We stopped the Epavela project. We had that capacity to organize. Simple things. Now, in my State Bank of India, when we had a problem, api kelling must strike well down. One day we decided we are going to come in sarong and house coat. Minisu kollo sarang na dena, ladies la house coat tegana. That's our protest. State Bank of India. Ladies, of course, wore the house coat over what they were wearing. Nattama house coat. Bala keliyak pane thana. Ape nan sarang yata wedi mukut tibbe ne. Samanya sarang yata thine me anda kata විතරයි. Hari mara fun එක. Customers like we are serving. Then the customers asking, මොකද්ද මේ ආ ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවා ඇත්තද? But we are serving them. Even the doctors can think of something different like that. Then in 1975, there was a big repression after the 71 JVP. ඔගොල්ලෝ සමහර ඉපදිලත් නැතුව ඇති. Repressive country. මෙතන හදිසි නීතිය. Sri Lanka government decided to support the government of Chile because there was a coup and they overthrew this leftist called Allende. These fellows made a mistake of saying, we are supporting that. We use that. And we said, release all political prisoners. In Chile, and sometimes we couldn't do anything. All we could do was launch a hunger strike. එක දවසක් hunger strike එකක් කරා. එතකොට මිනිස්සු ආවා මොනවද ඔයා කෑවේ නැහැ කියලා මේ රජය බය වෙනවද? නෑ. he said මිනිසුන්ගේ consciousness එක ඇති වෙනවා. ඔයාද කන්නේ නැද්ද? ඇයි? නෑ මම අද දවසම කන්නේ නැහැ. ඇයි මෙතන හිරගෙවල් වල මිනිස්සු තරුණ අපේ ලංකාවේ තරුණයන් හිර කරගෙන ඉන්නවා නඩු දාලා නැහැ මුකුත් නැහැ. මම ඒ නිසා අද කන්නේ නැහැ. Can you imagine what happens? Can you imagine the doctors gave their lunch to the patients and said today we are giving our lunch to you because there's great injustice that's going to happen whatever. දැන් මම එනකොටත් හිතුවා දැන් ඕගොල්ලෝ engineers association එක දවසක් against the Chinese. ඕගොල්ලෝ Chinese hats ඇඳගෙන යන්න ඕනේ බැලට. You know and මිනිස්සු තමුසෙට පිස්සුද වෙයි. මම බැලුවේ මේ Chinese hat එකක්ව දැම්මනම් මචං මොනරි opportunity එකක් හම්බෙයි කියලා. Can you imagine? You want to create something creative. You know. Then you begin to mobilize people. Now you all are fighting against FTA, very good. But look at, without any free trade, look at the influence of the Chinese. I know they try to take away jobs of database administrators. So they get the whole project. ඔක්කොම ඒගොල්ලෝ තමයි දාන්නේ. ඔක්කොම ගන්න හදනවා. Database එකක් දාන්න දෙන්නේ නැහැ අපේ ලංකාවේ මිනිහෙකුට Chinese project එක. And the software and all very questionable. One day one any. Yes.
Is that okay if she speaks in Singapore?
Of course. ඉස්සලාම අපි ඔක්කොමලා ස්තුතිවන්ත වෙන්න ඕනේ වාගේ හොඳ අපච්චි කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා. අනිත් එක ප්‍රශ්නයක් ආපේ කියන්නේ. දැන් මේ වා අර මෝඩ ළමයි කියන පුත් ගණන් ගන්න එපා. ඕගොල්ලෝ මේ දොස්තරලා වෙන්න මම කාටුනිස් කෙනෙක් වෙන්න. ඒ කියන්නේ මෙහෙමයි. කාටුන් ඉගෙන ගත්තම කාටුන් කියන රස්සාව නෙමෙයි කරන්න වෙන්නේ. ඉස්සරහට තියනවා දැන් අපිට තියෙන ලොකුම ප්‍රශ්නය තමයි අපේ දැන් වෙබ්සයිට් අපේ කියන අපේ ටෙක්නොලොජි තාක්ෂණය අපිට සාමාන්‍ය මිනිසුන්ට කියලා දෙන්න හරි අමාරුයි. ඇයි අපි මේ වචන තමයි පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ. දැන් ඔයා වගේ එක්කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා නම් අපිට කියන්න පුළුවන් දැන් අපේ වෙබ්සයිට් එකට ඔයාට පුළුවන් ද චිත්‍රයක් අඳින්න. අපි කියලා දෙන්නම් මේකයි තාක්ෂණය. ඔයාට කාටුන් එකක් අඳින්න පුළුවන්. එහෙම කරන්න අපිට ඊට වැඩිය වටිනවා ඒ වගේ එක්කෙනෙක්. තාක්ෂණය ගැන තාක්ෂණින් ලියන මිනිස්සු ඒ වැඩක් නැහැ. දැන් බලන්න කී දෙනෙක් කාටුන් වලින් අදහස් ඉදිරිපත් කරනවා. තාක්ෂණය ගැන විද්‍යාව ගැන. දැන් අර පොතේ මම පෙන්නන්නම් වට පස්සේ බොහොම සරල විදිහට රූප ඇඳලා තියෙනවා. විශාල ගැඹුරු මේ භෞතික විද්‍යා ප්‍රශ්න ගැන. නමුත් ඒ නිසා හිතන්න එපා කාටුන් කියන්නේ මම මේ රාවය හරි මොන හරි පත්‍රයකට මේ කාටුනිස් කෙනෙක් වෙන්න යනවා කියලා. නෑ. ඒක නෙමෙයි. අනිත් එක ඒක ඒ නිසා ඔයා කාටුන් කරන හින්දා කාටුනිස් කෙනෙක් වෙනවා කියලාත් හිතන්න එපා. දැන් ස්ටීව් ජොබ්ස් අහලා තියෙනවද මේ Apple computer? You all have heard of Steve Jobs? එයා මොකද එයාගේ විශේෂත්වය? ටෙක්නොලොජි නෙමෙයි. එයා ඉස්කෝලේ මේ යුනිවර්සිටි එකකින් එයා අයින් වුණා. drop out. අනිත් එක එයා මොකක්වත් අලුත් තාක්ෂණයක් ගෙනාවේ නැහැ. අනිත් අයගේ තාක්ෂණ තමයි එයා උපුටා ගත්තේ. නමුත් එයා පොඩි කාලේ මේ මම හිතන්නේ යුනිවර්සිටි කාලේ කැලිග්‍රෆි කියලා ඉගෙන ගත්තා. ජපාන් අකුරු ලියන ක්‍රමය හරිම ස්ටයිලිෂ් වගේ බලන්න. ඒකෙන් තමයි එයා දැනගත්තේ ඩිසයින් කියන්නේ මොකක්ද. නමුත් එයා ප්‍රසිද්ධ වුණේ කැලිග්‍රෆි ලියන මිනිහෙක් වගේ නෙමෙයි. Apple company පටන් ගන්න දැන් ඒක $1 trillion first company to be $1 trillion value. I have problems with Apple and how they don't pay their taxes. ඒක වෙනම කතාවක්. ඉතින් ඒක නෙමෙයි. හරිද? කොහෙත්ම ගණන් ගන්න. අනිත් විශාලුත් කරන්නේ ඔයා බලන්න මොකද්ද ඔයාගේ ඇතුලේ තියෙන්නේ? මොන වගේ පැෂන් එකක්ද? ඒක කාටුන් නම් සම්පූර්ණයෙන් ඒකට හිත යොදවන්න. අනිත් ඒවාත් ටික ඉගෙන ගන්න. ඔයලා බලන්න මොකද්ද මේ සයන්ස් වලින් මොනවද වෙන්නේ? ඒ ලොකු ලකුණු වැඩි ගන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. නමුත් ඒකේ මොකද්ද කියන්නේ කියලා බලන්න. පොඩි curiosity, කුතුහලය නෝ? Curiosity, what do you say for second? කුතුහලයක් තියෙන්නේ. මොකද්ද මෙතන වෙන්නේ? මට මේ කාටුන් එකෙන් අලුත් දෙයක් ලියන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ ළමයි ගැන කාටුන් එකක් හඳින්න ඕන. මේ මෝඩ ළමයි ගැන. අද ගිහිල්ලා try කරන්න. මුකුත් කියන්න එපා. මං කාටුන් එකක් ඇන්දා. කියලා එක පෙන්නන්න. ඒකට තොප්පිය ෆිට කරනවා ඒක දාගන්න. Very good. Thank you very much. I think you all should give her a
Yes, I just want to drag your mind from my engineering, and so I just want to know that how we really inculcate these the young blood. For example, imagination, and when we discuss about imagination, and how to inculcate these qualities in the young blood. And I mean, quite helpful all the people in here who are going to be a father in some years, and just give you an idea about that.
It's a tough one. Sorry, what's your name?
Kapila.
Kapila, ඔක හරි අමාරු වැඩක් ඒක. I don't have a prescription. You know, we can only talk and hope some of the parents, like her father, will say, "Puta, karanda darling. Cartoon nahin, hondai." You know, it's tough because you know generations of this has happened, and everybody is trying to win the race. Now, even that my foster sister's mother, she's very angry. මුට ගහනවා මුට. මං කියන අයියෝ මේ රත්තරන් වගේ බලා ගන්න මේ ළමයා හරි විශේෂ ළමයෙක් මෙයා. බටුත් ඒගොල්ලෝ දැන් ඒගොල්ලෝ පුදුප්පත්නේ. ඒගොල්ලෝ බලන්නේ මොන හරි රස්සාවක් කරලා. ඉතින් ඒක ලේසි නෑ. අපි ඉස්කෝලවල අපිට පොඩ්ඩ අවධානයක් ඇති කරන්න පුළුවන් නම් if we can create some awareness, maybe some germs, seeds will be planted, you know. But it's a losing battle. It's a losing battle. Parents starts at, have you seen this Dham Pasal? Yo, මොන දුකක්ද නේ. අපි ධම්ම ඉගෙන ගත්තේ ගෙදරනේ. ඉරිදාවත් උන්ට නිදා ගන්න හම්බෙන්නේ. අන්න දැන් මේ ළමයි කලබල වෙනවා. අර සුදු ඇඳගෙන පව් වැඩේ උදේ පාන්දර නිදි මත යන්නේ. දෙකට එන්නේ ගෙදර. I mean, you need one day to recover. I mean, we were playing games. අපේ අපි ඉස්කෝලේ ගිහලා ඉන්නේ 6ට. තනි කර මේ දුඹුරු පාට. We had to wash අපේ ගෙදර washing machine මුකුත් නැහැ. අපිම තමයි හොදන්නේ. ඉතින් ඕක තමයි ඉතින් කොහොමද ඉරිදාවත් නිදා ගන්න බැරි නම් how can you imagine? නිදා නැගිටේ නැගිටලා එමින් සරම ඇඳගෙන ළමයි තේ කෝපේ බීලා හසදියා බලාගෙන නිකන් ඉන්න දෙනවා. මොකද නිකන් ඉන්නේ කියලා. මොකද නිකන් ඉන්නේ. And this damn thing is another big distraction. We can't. I'm consciously trying. මේක අතට ගත්තාම විනාශයි. You can't think, you can't dream. Just going in a car, you can't look out of a train and pass the paddy fields. අපි ඉස්සර කොච්චර බලනවද මේ රාගමේ තමන් එනවා. Imagining. So it's tough, Kapila. It's tough.
Actually, not a question, something relevant to
Okay. First of all, I want to thank the speaker. Once I saw this topic, diversity, consciousness, creativity, and human systems and engineering, I thought this was I must participate. And I must thank you very much to open the eyes of the parents and also not only the parents and engineers, but professionals in the country to think about their role properly and think about their responsibility of the country. And coming back to Happiness Point, and it's also a very good thing that he asked how do we direct our children towards creativity and innovation. So I must introduce myself. I'm Jasmine Namayakara, working as lecturer at the Open University, engineering faculty. So I'm more into the kids and creative things. So I was working as a volunteer to kids creativity and innovation activities and some kind of NGOs. So I was thinking about how we can direct these children's creativity and innovation and become a responsible humanity than become engineers, doctors, whoever they. Because we want to create that kind of a common sense with the children. So I am planning for a social enterprise in real life that is actually for the solution for next generations to become creative and innovative, active children. And we have a wonderful generation before, right? So I think that's going to become a new startup venture. So I think you can send all children. Thank you.
It's good, you're starting something. Sorry, one sec. Just after that, maybe there's one gentleman who's already starting a question. Yeah, and then maybe you can go next.
Myself, a chemical engineer from the dairy industry. I have two questions to you. In your introduction, I heard that you started your company 10 years ago. I think probably in your late 40s or
50. I was 50. Then 16.
The common thing we hear when it comes to being an entrepreneur is that you should start as early as possible at a young age. But you are starting your company at your 50s, early 50s. And how did you come to that point, and what are the risks factors that you have to think when you're starting a company at your 50? Because 50 is an age where you have to think about the future retirement.
I thought you said that's the time you'll think about dying.
And the second thing is you're not from a technical background, but in your company you are leading engineers and people from technical background. So how do you address to that challenge?
That's a very good question.
That's a very good question. I would like others also to comment. So although I didn't start a company, I never was, I was always doing something new in any job. I never worked for the job description. So constantly, as a practice, I was constantly trying to do something different all the time. So I in fact I look back and think whether I ever had a manager. I never waited for instructions for someone. You know, I was given a role that I run with it. I try to do all kinds of things with it. Even at State Bank of India, although I was in the trade union, I was in an area called Foreign Currency Banking Unit. I used to try and discover new things that we could do. So I always had that so-called entrepreneurial spirit, to do something, start something. So although I didn't start a company, I was being part of many startups. Even East West, when I joined, they were starting up. Computer Land, when I started, we introduced open systems, Unix and all that. So I was always involved in introducing something. Even in a job, even the previous job at Millennium IT, we introduced this technology called MPLS in Sri Lanka. Telecom engineers will know. We just brought it here. Nobody was asking for it. I heard a talk, it inspired me at Cisco, and I came back and said, why don't you do MPLS here? That Cisco engineer said, your country is not ready. I said, are you mad? You come. And then we started. So everybody, like that. So I'm not a late starter in that sense. So starting a company like my own, where I have a small share in the company, that's new. So even as an employee, I was always thinking of like an entrepreneur. I didn't care so much about, the salary and all of that. That's what excited me. Engineers, inspiring them. I think I try to inspire them to see possibilities. That's all I try to do. And I'm open enough, and I've got enough education, reading to understand technology. If somebody talks about a technology, MPLS Kiwama, I won't know how to implement it. But I get it. I know what the technology can do. That I can go and articulate even to an engineer. So I talk to them about possibilities, which are real world examples. So that is what I try to do. I have enough of a background, curiosity, all that, to understand how the technology can be used. And that's what I challenge the team. But of course, in the process, we challenge them to ask questions. I think discussions like this, challenging them to do, can we do much better? Can we create a different, product? That kind of thing mostly. So inspiring them to break out of their boundaries, if I put it like that, and give them the freedom. Our culture is like that. Our culture is very open. They can try out anything. Now when we started the company, just one example and I stop to give others question. Now when we started the company, now 70% of our business today comes from technologies and solutions which we didn't have 3 years ago. How many companies can say that? So constantly we are moving. And when we started, we never built data center. 2-3 years ago, we decided we'll start build data centers. Now we have built, now there are 7 data centers that we have to build. Never had it in our business plan. Railway gate lights, we are putting lights, traffic system, light system for the railway, unguarded railway, about 750. We went in there and we worked with the engineers from Bolto University and we said, we will make the control board in Sri Lanka. We'll get the parts from Japan. 2 others bid. One bid the control board from Europe, thousands of dollars, tens of thousands. Others from China, thousands of dollars. Ours, hundreds of dollars. And now that control board that we built in the railway yard, shunting, very difficult. Basically what the lights does is when the train comes, there's the triggers, it knows the speed and the distance, then the lights come, then the train passes, there's another trigger and the lights come on. It has to work perfectly. So in the yard, there are a lot of crossings. 25 years they couldn't crack this problem. 25 years. We did it. Now there's nothing in our business plan about putting railway lights. From that we have learned about transportation, how do we manage these lights, can we build data analytics. You see, open and give the employees a chance. Business plan එක මේක ලියලා තියෙනවද? තවසෙට කවුද මේක කරන්න කියලා? අපේ ඉස්සර ඩිරෙක්ටර් කෙනෙක් හිටියා ආ බිස්නස් ප්ලෑන් එක උස්සගෙන එනවා. 5 year plan. මම මොනාරි කිව්වොත් පෙරලනවා. It's not you. Seriously, it's not you. So, fortunately, he moved out and somebody else came in. නැත්තම් ඉවරයි. තාම 5 year business plan. 5 year business plan අපි හදන්නෙත් නැහැ. 18 months විතරයි අපි හදන්නේ. 18 months our business plan. Technology is changing. So it's a culture. So another contributor, I can create a culture for that kind of thing. But if you are in the Sri Lanka Electricity Board, what a like? Or I'm just saying electricity board, any board, petroleum, they take anything. It's a hierarchical bureaucracy. මොනවටද ඒගොල්ලෝ ඇවිල්ලා අලුත් දෙයක් කරන්නේ? රස්සාවක් නැති වෙනවා. මෝර්නින් ලෙටර් එකක් දීලා එළියට දාන්න. තවසේ ගිහලා මොකද ඇයිසේ ඕක බ්‍රේකර් එක කඩලා බැලුවේ මොකද්ද තියෙන්නේ කියලා. දැන් මගේ අර කියන පොඩි කොල්ලයා යවන ඔක්කොම කඩනවා. කඩලා බලනවා මොකක්ද ඇයිසේ මේකේ තියෙන එක ලයිට් යනවා පිස් හැදෙනවා. But he learned something. Sorry.
So it's not a question. Imagination is created and knowledge told by Einstein. And Kapila's question was how we can make our children with imagination. I have heard that Einstein have told if you want to make your children intelligent, tell them fairy tales. So that can be a way of creating the imagination. We have a culture of telling stories.
Katandara.
But now we are using that.
Correct.
Cartoons and other things. So that's.
Now don't say cartoons. Nah, joking. You're right. We have lost that. We have lost that ability to tell stories. Yeah, that is so true. Storytelling. I mean, when I was in the union, I used to come home. My daughters were, very, very young. I used to come by bus, of course. I think my union meeting earlier, I think, I'll always come by about 8:30. I'll try to come before they go to sleep. So they are all ready. Every day I come, I have no time to have a shower, but I come by bus, so I can't. So I take off my clothes, I'll wear a shirt and a sarong, and I get into their bed. So elder girl, this bed, I'll read a story to her, and then the other girl, I go to her bed, read a story. Every night, stories. වැඩිය මේ දවල් කියනකොට I made the animal sound ඒ ඔක්කොම රැට එහෙම බෑ. ඒක ඇරගෙන ඉන්නවනේ. Quiet stories. But imagination, always imagination. And the story is also very interesting. Short story. Something will happen, in that story. ඇඟිලි උර කට්ටන අහගෙන ඉන්න. එච්චරයි. And then play some music and they go to sleep. නේ baby music නෙමෙයි. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් හොඳ music. So you know you just get thinking and you sleep thinking of a story. දැන් නම් බලන්න ඕනේ මොනවද homework මොනවද කරේ කියලා. 10ටත් homework කරන්න. විනාශයි. Yes, AJ.
Yeah. My name is Manam. Just a comment, Peter. The people are watching this live stream all around the world. So I got a call. I have a WhatsApp message coming from one of my batchmates. You probably know him, Dr. Sanjay Senadhir from Texas. He mentioned that the STEM, just for the information, STEM education is not STEM anymore. It is STEAM. The word art is included, so STEAM. So it is STEAM, it's not STEM anymore. So the art has been brought in, so you should be happy about that.
Great.
Right.
You learned
Good
something.
question. Give me a short answer before I have to leave now. Right.
You can
Just
hear that.
understanding, right. So your topic says towards citizen-centered engineering. Can you elaborate that last part towards citizen-centered engineering?
Yes.
Can you speak?
So that's what I mentioned about that man who's doing the billion bricks, foundation. Can we build cheap housing, or can we get together to address any of the issues really? Like, even it doesn't have to be, it may not necessarily involve engineering, but I'm saying I'm just opening up the possibilities for you as engineers to be involved in projects and initiatives that will serve the large majority of the people of this country. Not necessarily high rise and the buildings that we see. Now take Colombo. It's finished, destroyed. All that you have is housing, apartments. Now, if some of you are involved in country planning, now when we were small, AJ, I don't know, I don't know, we lived in Colombo. Colombo had a playground system. Ogulana mataka the playground system. Westwhite Park. In Mattakkuliya Modara alone there were 3. Westwhite Park, Ellie House Park and Bonavista Park. These are parks, open spaces. Boys and girls come and play some sports. There's a female instructor, there's a male instructor. Open kalla denawa me basketball and we play and we participate in inter playground tournament. Municipality එකෙන් බස් එකක් දෙනවා. අපිට දෙනවා ජර්සි එකක්, ටී-ෂර්ට් එකක්. නම්බර් එක ගාගෙන ස්කෝර් බුක් එකක් දෙනවා. අපි යනවා මේකේ. In that there's community. And then glucose දෙනවා. අර ජලාතේ අපි glucose interval එකේ glucose කාලා ගේන. You see? මොකක්ද උනේ? එක පිට්ටනියක් තියෙනවා. ඔක්කොම පිට්ටනිය අරන් building හදලා. So, community spaces. We can talk as engineers. What about living space for the people of this country? No wonder they are not playing games, that they are watching YouTube and eventually porn and all that. There's no outlet for them. So, that is citizen engineering. Living space for the people. You know what will happen? All the rich will go to the port city. They will let this Colombo go to ruin. ඔක්කොම පොසත් ඇහ යනවා. මෙතන විනාශයක් වෙලා. කතරක් නෑ නේ ඉතින්. ළමයින්ට ගිහලා සෙල්ලම් කරා. අර ක්‍රිකට් ගහපු අර පාර්ලිමේන්තු එකේ ඉස්සර කොච්චර ක්‍රිකට් මැච්ද? ඕ එක එකටවත් යන්න බෑ තුනේ. ඇයි තනකොළ මේ හොයනවා. ගෝල් ෆේස් එක විතරයි සෙල්ලම් කරා. ක්‍රිකට් මැච් පොලිමට නෑ ඒක ලස්සනට කොළ පාට හොඳට තියෙන්න ඕනේ. වටේ මිනිස්සු ඇවිදිනවා. ඇතුලේ මුකුත් බෑ. ඉතින් ඇති වැඩක් තියෙනවා. කමක් නෑ පොඩ්ඩක් තනකොළ මේ වුණාට at least 20 minutes. So I'm just saying, you can think of anything. So that's why I give that example of the billion bricks. Can we build, can we get participate in this and say, let's build, is that the way to build high rises? Can we have a different, and many issues, water, plastic, So I'm saying, think of engineering collaborating to address some of the large issues.
One more question. I was telling that the school system kills curiosity. School system kills curiosity. Similarly, sometimes government policies sometimes kills the national entrepreneurship. For example, the same thing, citizen-centered engineering. I'm asking, for example, just a small example, since you were talking about steel fabricated houses and things like that. We had a local steel fabrication industry. Most of the time, steel buildings are manufactured, designed by local engineers. small steel buildings, but government actually make the tax, import tax zero for all imports. Now, 90% of large building design in China brought down here, and that is zero tax. Whereas locally, all the elements are taxed. For example, I sections, H section, various things, all are taxed about 10 to 15% when it comes elements and local value addition. So that industry going down. Whereas China, total building comes zero, so the design happening there. So the local entrepreneurship is still. So when I asked NC, National Economic Council, one of the senior members, why do you do this? His answer was, no, our government policy is liberalization. He gave that answer. So I was, same thing, citizen-centered engineering. How can we engage the government? Because they are creating an industry where a lot of steel fabricators, steel designing engineers, and steel component manufacturers are affected.
Then maybe that's a question you must bring up and discuss. I mean, because you see, I'm not here to provide all the answers. I can only provoke discussion. Worthwhile conversation to have. Now you're talking about liberalization. I went to Tuliri, that MESC Innovation Center. I mean, at least they have saved it because we had Tuliri textiles. My children wore only Tuliri textile fabric for their birthdays. Cheetha wage lassana, lovely prints. Tuliri and Pugoda. Matakada? These fellows ruined it. JR's government. Liberalization. Who faced the brunt of the liberalization? His own brother. Asian cotton mills shut down. We had a CMU branch there, and Balakampo met him, his brother. Mona Jayawardena? Ape president? JR. So you see, completely destroyed. That they gave that to Kabul. Kabul ran into the ground. Destroyed. What a lovely place. They vanished. Huh? They vanished. But he told, no. JR said, let the robber barons come. And they came. Robber barons. Not ordinary robbers. Baron Now, in India, they managed the industrialization without, they said you have to come to, that's why IBM and all left. They said no, if you want to be here, partnership. IBM said Tata and they left. As a result, what happened? They had to develop Unix because they didn't have the mainframe operating. See the benefit. Today India is, why is India the greatest Unix country? Because they were forced. IBM left, they had to innovate. Unix engineers, and now look at all the manufacturing they do. Even jets and all that, they said joint venture, nothing bad.
I think such a policy scenario can also engage certain things like, so industry was developing steel fabrication, steel designers, so much. I think we should, I don't know whether.
Yes, actually, just a quick answer. Right now, they are gathering 50 yards away from us, inside the building, discussing certain policy matters like
So like that, take one. You know, the idea is take one or two. Because even the CMU made this mistake. We have 20 resolutions on May Day. Okkom political visit karna ඊට පස්සේ එකෙක්වත් බලන්න. 20ක්. මොනවද resolution වලට කියන්නේ? නිය සිංහලෙන් කියන්නේ? resolution pass කරන්න. අර මේව කරන්න ඕනේ කියලා. අපි මේ ප්‍රතිපත්ති ප්‍රකාශනය ඒක manifesto. resolution කියන්නේ we resolve. අපි මේක කරනවා අරක කරනවා මේක 20ක්. අපේ දැන් කම්පැනි වල 2යි 3යි කරන්නේ. So if you can take one or two, one in the focus on that, then see whether you can change. If you try to change from, you know, medical college to, you know, 20 problems, very difficult. No? Take a burning issue and see. We'll be part of it. We'll bring our engineers from our company and come. Now on May Day, I marched this year because after a long time we had May Day on a working day. අපේ ප්‍රෙසිඩන්ට් ගිල්ලා 8 වෙනිදා දැම්මනේ. අපි කිව්වා ඒ බබෑ කම් කරුව පාලිනිදා තමයි මේ දිනේ සෙලිබ්‍රේට් කරන්නේ. After many years I walked on the road this year and I found that spirit of ඉස්සර වැඩ නවත්තලානේ මේ දිනේ you come on strike. බණ්ඩාරනායක ගිහිලා ඒක නිවාඩුවක් දුන්නා. හයි පස්සේ දැන් මිනිස්සු ගෙදර බීලා එම එන්නේ. ඉස්සර වැඩ නවත්තලා මම ඉපදෙන කොටත් වැඩ ඒක තිබුණා. But we had other demonstration. I walked, all the people watching. ඉතින් අපිට අපේ ඔෆිස් එක ගාත් දාලා ආවා. මම හිතන්නේ මේ දිල්දුක්ෂිතාවත් මම හිතන්නේ ආවේ නැද්ද කොහෙද? එයාත් ඇවිල්ලා you know so they say I say why is Peter walking? සමහරව හිතන ඇති ඌට වෙන්න පිස්සු යකෙක් කියලා. I don't know but you see so there's an issue we'll mobilize. That's the thing, we have to find some issue to mobilize people like a power common issue. It takes time. Trotsky said changes are molecular changes. Balatam පොතම again molecular changes. ලොකු දෙයක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ එකපාරටම. පොඩ්ඩ වෙනස් වෙලා එකපාරටම පත්තු වෙලා ලොකු ව්‍යාපාරයක් හැදෙනවා.
Hello, yes, my question is regarding the schools killing the creativity. Actually, I have seen a lot of TED talks on this.
Ken Robbins.
Dr. Ken Robbins. So he talks a lot about this killing the creativity by school system. But his idea is that this education system is created from the industrial revolution. So it is making people who are wanted by the industry. So my question is how we can create an ecosystem that it will evolve into creating creative people, or what can we do in our education system or in technology wise? Do you have any ideas?
If you allow me, let me get my question.
Yes, please. Or maybe you can comment also.
Yeah,
Others can
I
also
will-
comment.
I will-
Yes.
let me first comment.
So that I'm not the only one
Peter,
answering.
Peter, you are a self-admitted non-technologist.
Yes.
And I know your company, I've been to your company. You are surrounded by technologies. So combine this question, my question is, how do you hire people? Because people are very high-tech people. So how do you hire them? So combine that,
That's a great question. Now, hiring people, right now, one of our guys, when we started with 13 people, I handpicked them.
Let me just.
Yes.
The point why I asked that question is because you have ecosystem in your
Yes,
company.
yes,
You have seen it. Most
yes.
of you should visit this company, small footprint, but it's a fascinating place.
Yes,
That's why I asked.
yes. Thank you. So there's an energy, no? There's an energy. So when we started, we were 13 people, and I handpicked people, I thought had some skills. I think they were hiring really interesting people. Then as we started to grow, we were also trying to get our degree, second class, first upper. I found that creeping in. Then I asked one of our top guys, he's like a CTO. I could see that he's now dismissing people from the evaluation, the first run, sifting through the application. He's leaving out people who are not, top degree holders. Then I asked him, I said, he hired a guy, examples of two people. He had one guy who was a call center operator at a telecom company. Call center operator. No degree. Then he becomes so interested in database, he started doing database, so the company being good enough, absorbed him from the call center to make a database administrator. He was doing that when we hired him. Today, he is doing work in what is called middleware. I won't go into details. Technology, very important today to connect applications and all that. An 25-year-old IBM veteran came on a project that we were doing for a telecom. She told me he and another guy both don't have degrees. She said these two boys are world class, because they had that curiosity, interest to learn something. Technology you can learn. So I told this man, I said, be careful. You are now falling, because we are becoming big, no? Very soon, quickly you fall into the trap of going back to that kind of thing. Yesterday I interviewed a lady I spoke about. So how do we hire? We try to see whether these people have some. I always start with school. What did you do in school, in university? I get a feel of, some people have grown orchids, some people will say cartoon. What is the most memorable moment? Nobody says my most memorable moment was when I got 4 A's. Association, so we try to look for that element, but very difficult to find people who are imaginative. But the last thing I ask them is, have you got any questions for me? Visala වැඩි දෙනෙක් ප්‍රශ්න අහන්නේ. And generally I have tea with them, you know that AJ. I don't have interviews in office or a Dilma tea lounge කියලා තියෙනවා. මම එතනට ගිහලා very casual, I'm also dressed casually. No ties, nothing. Then I tell them, you have an opportunity to meet the CEO of the company you're going to work with, and you don't have one question. She's 20 odd years old. She has done business administration. Her sister is an electrical engineer. Her mother was the first Commissioner of Labour in Sri Lanka, female. Younger sister is chemical engineering. She decided she wanted to do a business. Challenged me. She said, I said, any question? She asked a question first. Then she said, I want to make a comment. Peter, your company is largely you. You are the inspiration and the. What happens when you are not there? And she said, please don't be upset, I asked you. Maddie, then I said, I welcome this. And we are going to hire her. I'm there, I'm going to there. No, hire අපිට තාම යට කිව්වේ නැහැ. ඈ ලොකු පඩියක් කියලා ඉතින්. අලකේ. No, we are not going to hire her. Just in case she's watching. So you see, we celebrate people like that. අපේ ආණ්ඩුවේ තැනකට ගිහිල්ලා කිව්වොත් ආයිසේ තමසෙන්නේ මෙතන ලොක්කා. අපසේ ගියාට පස්සේ කවුද ඉන්නේ? එළියට දාන ඉවර කන්දක් තිස්සේ. So you have to be humble to be able to spot people who are, and don't think they should all come from your same gene pool, තව එක්කෙනෙක් ආවා. පඩිය e-channeling, පඩිය 15,000. He came and joined us. No degree again. He said, I'll come for 10,000. I think we gave him 15. Next year, he went to 60,000. Next year, he went to 125,000. Today, he'll get to 125,000. Why? He built on virtualization. He built some capability. He and another guy were the first in whole of Asia to get through 2 VMware certifications in America. And they are working for us. Now, no degree, nothing. That curiosity, that passion about something, good enough. Technology will teach. What ඉගෙන ගන්න උනන්දුව තියෙනවා නම් එන්න. Technology ඉගෙන ගන්න පුළුවන් මොකද්ද ඕක? ඩිග්‍රී එකම කරලා තියෙන අයට ඕක සුළු වෙනවා. අපි අරක තියෙනවා. උනන්දුව තියෙනවා. අමාරුයි ඉන්ටර්වියු වලින් හොයා ගන්න. කුක් කෙනෙක් නම් කියනවා කෑම එකක් හදපන් කියලා. But we try to see whether we can give them. Sorry, I just complete. There's a danger in this. Google try to be too smart and they put these big billboards. Equation එකක් දානවා. දාලා කියනවා if you can crack this, send it කියලා. Suddenly Google realized they are all hiring that kind of person. No diversity. ඔක්කොම නිකන් පොරවල්. But I think I can work in a company like Google. I don't want to. But I will not get through their test because my mind doesn't work like that. You see, suddenly they realize we are hiring all wrong. Google. But on the other hand, companies like Ernst & Young, they are hiring data scientists. Go over the game, mate. Finance, accounting. Because they think data science and analytics is going to be the future of finance. There are more data scientists than Google. I was shocked to hear that. බලන්න ලෝකේ වෙනස් වෙන හැටි. Skills. ඒතකොට මේ ළමයින්ට මොකක්ද අපි උගන්වන්නේ? අපේ තාමර පරණ curriculum 30 years. What are they going to do? Two skills you need for the future. Everybody says this. Problem solving, creativity. And adaptability. Because you have to change jobs. හැමදාම අපේ engineers අලුත් දේවල් ඉගෙන ගන්න ඕනේ. අයි ඕක මැරෙන්න ඕනේ technology. එතකොට මිනිහට රස්සාව එළියට දාන්නද කියන්නේ? Adapt, retrain, change. If you're willing to learn, you will change. You will change. You will change. Yes. Last question. Last question. The lady is yes. That gender balance. Yes.
Good evening, everyone. First, I came as a civilian and just a citizen, but I have to say that I came into all the comments. I thought that I haven't made the comments. So, first of all, teachers, thank you for your question. It was really interesting. I'm actually representing Minister of Education.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming.
At that time, I found out about your lecture, curiosity, consciousness, and creativity. I thought it was very interesting, and I wanted to make time to listen to you, so I came, and actually it was wonderful and very useful. So, change it, but change takes time. So, few things that I have said. Actually, we are increasing scheme as Mr. Arjuna said. The other thing, phenomenological education. Finland is actually harder phenomenological education. We are also doing that, collecting all the sciences and teaching them together. And we are looking for that too. So I would say that we have to envision education in a different perspective. So that's what we are trying to do. So we also are a product of this system, and we are also trying to update and get knowledge and make use of that to change this. So that is what we are doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comment. Thank you. It's a great comment. Thank you. So there is hope. That's what I want to say. Is that the last question? Yeah. So there is hope for this country, because there are people such as you who are humble enough to come to a lecture because a topic inspires you and you pick something from it and you go back to your workplace. But sadly, you work in a political system that is so interfering, and they constantly change. And the people who run education have no idea about anything to do with education. I don't want to comment on the current minister, and I don't know because I have not worked with them, but largely. So, but we have to try. Now I met the former, is it still the secretary who came for that skills council meeting? Is it? Yes. Is he here? No. So he is a very interesting man. He was very keen to, I had a chat with him. So there are people like that, but this is a system that's gone on for years, and changing a system is very painful, very difficult, because you need resources. The teachers have to be retrained. How are teachers going to impart this unless they are trained? So to start with the training institutions, creating different types of teachers. So it's a very challenging task. So finally, what I want to end is I go back to the question of consciousness, because you see, recently I took part in this play Cumbio, which most of you or some of you may have seen. And I was thinking that if we don't, get together and be part of movements. I know various people here on various types of movements. AJ himself is very actively involved in a movement. But I use the word, not that I'm advocating anyone to be part of that, but they thought the word renaissance. Hunarude. So create a new renaissance of people, of thinking, and we can contribute in our own way. There's no set formula. You don't have to be part of his movement. You can part of any movement. Otherwise, what will happen is we will leave the future of this country in the hands of evil, corrupt, manipulative people like Maldenian, whom I played, and there's no hope then. So I urge you to stay engaged, and let's all work towards a better place, a better country, and possibly a better world. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pirita Almeida, for that wonderful lecture. I hope all of you who gathered here would agree with me that the things he mentioned would immensely helpful for us to reshape our lives in a way that one day we can turn back and celebrate our lives. So, without taking much time, I would like to cordially invite our past president of IESL, Engineer Jayanta Ranatunga, to hand over the token of appreciation for today's presenter, Peter de Almeida. So now it's time for me to pay my gratitude to all the parties who helped us to make this event a great success. First, Mr. Peter de Almeida, thank you very much for allocating a few hours from your busy schedule for enlightening us, for coming here, for delivering a wonderful lecture and answering the question we all had. Thank you very much. And second, I would like to thank our past president, Mr. Arjuna Manamperi, past chairman of Mechanical Engineering Sectional Committee, Mr. Arjuna Manamperi. Actually, having Mr. Peter for a public lecture was a dream, was like a dream for me. At the time that a dream implanted in me, I didn't know even Mr. Arjuna was a close friend of Mr. Peter. So he did all the coordination work, and thank you very much for everything and for the guidance you always provided for us. And I should mention my team, the Mechanical Engineering Sectional Committee, especially our president. If our chairman, Mr. Asela Patiratna, if he was here, he doesn't allow me to thank him in this forum. So since he's now in abroad, I got the opportunity to thank him in front of all of you and all the other colleagues of mine and the IESL staff, Ms. Ramani, Ms. Santoni, and Mr. Kapila from IT division, and everyone who played their roles to make this event this success. And last but not least, without you, without every one of you, this event would never be a success. So I thank all of you who gathered here, as well as everyone who put this event online to make this event a great success. Thank you very much and have a safe journey home.